Oh, look, we got lots of room. That looks good. So, welcome to Twitch. This is a chance where we have some buddies up here who you'll hear probably narrating throughout the thing, and they have created a card game for Redwall that is largely like Dominion-ish, right? And so we had a chance to play this game yesterday. We really enjoyed it, and we wanted to play it again. We thought you would enjoy it too. Just to be totally clear, this is not a official licensed game or anything right now. This goes under sort of fan fiction. That said, we would love the chance to actually probably make this into a real deal. It's just that we're not there yet. So I want to be just super clear about that. And as a result, you're going to see, kind of art that we grabbed off the interwebs and this kind of stuff. It's just placeholder stuff for fun. And so I just have to be clear about that for all the weird, copyright reasons. Anyways, we're going to play the game. And Charlie, do you want to introduce it? Quickly?
Yeah, sure. So this, as Chris already said, behaves much like many of the deck builder games that are currently out there, but has some really different aspects to it, things that we had enjoyed about it. We try to take some of the principles that we saw in a lot of those games and mix it up a bit. This really, the core idea that's different is that everybody plays with a Abbey, and the Abbey presents a list of things that you do on your turn, which then can be modified. So typical games, really almost any game you play, will have some sort of order of play, draw a card, buy a card, something like that, and that's defined by game rules. In this game, all the rules are your Abbey. Your Abbey determines how many cards you draw, what you do on your turn, collecting coins for buying things, using resources, all of that comes off of the Abbey. And so it gives you the flexibility to be able to modify to your play style, and then the cards that are in play across the top of the board here, we have a list of quests. So what we're playing with right now is a very small version of the board for a tutorial. So this is the kind of our first setup for a tutorial run, and across the top are quest cards, which determine the things that will be the scoring points throughout the game, so quest points, and also determine how the game ends. So if you fight off Clooney enough times, you end the game. Well, the game has many story elements from Redwall. It's not required to know Redwall to play it. We like the fact that you can kind of build your own stories, tell your own story of in this case, defending Redwall the way you want to.
Yeah.
And it mixes with a good strategic gameplay. So the game still has a lot of depth of strategy to it, while still being fun to play in the aspect of telling a little bit of the story. In addition, there's beasts here, and then there's rooms that you can buy, as we talked about, to modify your Abbey. Some of these, you'll notice, are very much placeholder art and placeholder cards. So the first thing, I think, since you guys all got a chance to play at once, that we want to decide what we're starting with is, do you guys want to play with the same setup? Do you want to add a couple extra cards in? Do you want to, you guys all got a feel for the strategy. Everybody was talking about how they wanted to modify their strategy this time. Do you want to do it again and modify strategies? Or we could add an extra row. Typically, you would run with 3 rows of randomized cards. We could add an extra randomized row of cards there that would really mix things up. Do you have any preference?
Do you guys care?
Down to add a row.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Okay, so let's grab it. So this is a good example of how the game happens in terms of setup. So 2 other things that we need to do quickly here. So nobody's got their opening hands yet. So opening hands are always given 3 copies of the rations. So that's the card that costs 1 here, and then 3 copies of whatever the starter card. So in this case, we've still got Martin's Belt. So if you want to leave the same starter card, we'll just leave Martin's Belt here. Do you guys want to switch at all? Yeah, you can do that. So if you guys want to start dealing these out, everybody get 2 copies of this and 3 copies of this. 1 copy of the belt and 3 copies of the rations go in your hand. 1 copy of the belt and 3 copies of the rations becomes your deck. So here you can see we've got these place cards that give the definition for the card that we might add, and then we can just turn these upside down, shuffle them, see what we get, and let's see. We want to have another slip, so we can pick anything we want here, but Martin's Sword. Okay, so we've added Martin's Sword to the list of quests. So Martin's Sword is a card that is worth, should double check what the sword is. It's worth a certain amount of victory points, but also counts as an item, which means you can use it to gain resources, and in this case you can use it to do something special, which is banishing a card. So it's yet another way to banish cards. And then let's grab another random.
$9 in a trip. Yes.
Okay, a little bit louder. Where is the microphone at? ball over there. Okay, guys, I'm a little too quiet, they say. So for the next room we've got a gardens here. So gardens is an interesting room. We'll bring it out here and play a little bit, but it's a very basic room, but it gives you 10 additional points. It gives you a trip every turn, and it gives you a coin every turn. So it's a very simple room. Not coin, sorry, it gives you a resource. Cost every turn.
Wait, it costs a resource?
No, it gives you a resource, one additional resource every turn. So if you put it into your Abbey, every turn you're going to get one resource off of it, one trip off of it, and it's worth 10 points. It's a simple room, gives you a bunch of abilities. That's cool. Let's do Constance and Shadow. This will be interesting. Do you want to do Shadow? Okay. That'll be interesting. Yep. Okay, so we got Constance and Shadow. So, Constance, once again, is an interesting card. She's a badger. She's a large card. She costs 8, so put a bunch of money into her. She can do some really interesting things, though, because she can shoot down. So, typically, you can banish cards from your hand or from in play. Whenever it says banish a card, that means either get something out of your hand or something in play. She can knock things out of your Abbey, too. So she can remove things out of your Abbey, and then whenever you banish something, you get to gain something else, if you want to. Gain something costing the same or less than it, and you can put it wherever you want to. So, for instance, we talked about this before, they had that room, the storeroom, where you can put your quests, and then they give you card draw later on. Well, she has the ability to knock things out of play and stick them into your storeroom, so you can add additional quests to your storeroom very quickly and get your draw capacity up. She can also be a great way to get rid of Clooney the Scourge. She can do banishing kind of all over the place.
What do you mean get rid of Clooney?
So if you have Clooney in your hand, she can banish him. So when you play her, Clooney gets banished. So it's you'd be knocking Clooney out one of the times, and then at that point, Clooney would go into your archives. You'd be worth the 15 points, and you could keep playing against that.
Okay.
Clooney has it now requires 5 times to end the game.
You changed that from
we did.
Okay.
And I'm not sure it actually even says it on the card. I'm sorry. That should say that on the card there. So usually the game end text is somewhere on there.
Right on.
The advantage of running with prototype stuff. And then Matthias behaves a little bit differently. So when we played last time, we recognized there was a lot of confusion. When you played Matthias, people were like, do I draw a card or not? So Matthias now just, as a blanket statement, everybody gets to draw a card when you play Matthias. So you play Matthias, everybody gets to draw a card, but they reveal it as they draw it. And then if any quest card is revealed, the person who played Matthias draws 2 cards. And if any scoundrel is revealed, the person who played Matthias gets to banish a card of their choice. From their own hand, so from their hand or from their
Matthias is rocking it.
Yep, so he's strong, so he's a strong card, but he gives everybody else a draw, so that's why he's cheap. And it does a trade-off between letting everybody else draw a card and doing some cool stuff. Okay, so everybody's got their hand. Everybody should have their face-down cards in their draw pile. Now that you guys have these wonderful mats, there's a section for where your archives go, so as you defeat a quest beast, or if you for some reason banish any quest card, it's going to end up in your archives. And then the rest of your game plan mat is all ready to go. So who's going to start? Scissors wins, apparently.
Go ahead, Cameron.
No.
I'm going to choose to pick you because you have a raccoon on your chest.
Okay, cool. I do have a question about Constance. It says if you may gain a card costing the same or less than the banished card, putting it into your hand or the Abbey. Where do you gain that card from? Is it from your deck or
from the outline? So if you're gaining a card, anytime you hear gain a card, it's going to be gaining something from out here.
Okay.
So she lets you get rid of something and swap it for something else that you might be more interested in. Especially near the end of the game, that might be great because you could swap out beasts for additional victory cards. And start accumulating victory cards near the later part of the game. She's definitely a later game card.
Cool. And do you have to get something, or can you just banish with her?
You can just banish. It says you may gain a card. So
cool.
Anytime it says you may, that means the choice is yours.
All right. And at the start of my turn, I get a coin, correct?
Yep.
Cool.
So gain a coin, drop it down.
And then I have the same start as everybody else. Yay! And then I did not pay attention to Shadow.
Shadow gets you foods.
Gain 2 rations. Their deck. Okay. This is gain 2 rations from the Outlands or my deck. Charlie?
So you gain 2 rations from the Outlands. So anytime it says the word gain, it always means take it from the Outlands. It's like he's giving you a free trip out to the Outlands. If we want to, I'm gonna mess things up just a little bit here. I know, because you've got one character that's really interesting with another room card that we have, and the room card Courtyard is sort of a beginner, nice and easy card. But I don't want to give you guys easy cards. I want to give you guys crazy cards. So we're going to put Cavern Hole in because it's very iconic. So this is going to become Cavern Hole. Okay. You'll want to look at Shadow. So Cavern Hole costs 7, and it does something seemingly very simple. At the start of your turn, you may put a ration into this room. So you can put a ration inside the room. During Harvest, this room is worth, you can see a little question mark there, this room is worth 1 resource for every ration that's in it. So you put this into play. Next turn, you put a ration into it. During Harvest, it's worth 1. Next turn, you put another ration into it. During Harvest, it's worth 2. You can build this thing up to producing a whole lot of resources on any given turn by just adding additional rations to it.
All right.
So you just kind of fill it up with rations. And it works really well with Shadow. So I want to throw that in there just because it's a fun card to mess around with you guys and like Shadow.
That's a cool bit. Okay.
All right, keep going.
Good to know. That changes my entire strategy.
And we
because
could
I
put,
was
like-
gonna go with the garden,
And we
but
can put like loots or anything we want in there, or
Just rations. Only rations. It's the big eating room, so you just stick rations in there. Keep eating.
okay, gotcha.
yeah, okay. Then I'm gonna go for a supply, and that's it. So get rid of my gold and clockwise. It's turkeys.
Here, keep your discard pile face up so you can keep your card. Yep.
With 3 in the trip. Oh, yeah, plus the coin. I am gonna go with Shadow.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to do what I did yesterday, which is I'm going to take my money, get back my money, do my little 3 things, I'm going to get 2 Jesses. I don't know if I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to try.
Face up.
Take
Discard
money.
face up. And then.
I'm also gonna get a supply. Back.
So the big thing with Jess doing that is just to make sure that you start clearing out some of those rations and thinning your deck down so you can get all the way
Right.
through with her.
My turn.
Yes.
Okay. Gain a coin. Same hand as last turn. Take a shadow, and that'll just end my turn. And now I need to shuffle my deck so that I can draw my next hand.
Anytime you gain, go right to discard. Yeah, so just while you guys are playing, I'm going to keep talking through the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happens with the game is because it's a deck building game, the idea is that you're using your resources to buy additional cards to add to your deck. Your deck gets shuffled, those randomly may show up later on, will show up at some point, and so you kind of refine your deck into a more interesting set of strategies. You have both the strategy of just helping you draw more cards to get to those more interesting cards. You also have the ability to banish cards, which means remove cards out of your deck, putting them into a shared banishment pile, or getting them out of the way of your draw, which then allows your deck to also become more refined. As you play, as you guys can see what people are doing here, on the people draw from the left-hand side, so there's a little draw pile on everybody's Abbey. You draw your cards out of there, you play the cards out in front someplace, and then at the end of the turn, anything that you gained on that turn and anything that you played on that turn, everything that's in your hand, all that stuff goes over into your discard pile, and you begin drawing again. You know, the turn that we're on, most people have drawn all their cards because their hands are moving through pretty quickly, but you'll see these things starting to build up, and then there'll be some cards in discard and some cards in draw, usually at all times. And also at the end of your turn, you do your draw, so that way you're ready for your next turn too. And see, it's already got cards, even though his next turn's got a little ways away. That helps you think about what you're going to do later on.
I'm gonna get another.
He's already doing that.
Gonna get another Shadow.
All right.
All done?
Yes.
Alright.
Remembering how many cards I have.
Money,
What am I gonna end up with next?
thingies, Jesses, lump of bread.
Oh, I think you're going to spend it.
Yeah, spend it.
Yep. Very good.
It's my turn.
Yes, sir.
Okay. take another gold. Have a hand, which is Martin's belt. One supply card and 2 rations, which means I have 4 units here, up to 5 with that, but I'm going to spend it on I'm gonna get Shadow again. That takes care of those 2, and then
Clyde's included.
I could get another Shadow.
So while people here are thinking a lot about beasts, and you're hearing a lot of talk about the different characters that you can buy, in addition, we've talked a little bit about rooms. There is a starter set of rooms too, or a basic set of rooms, which allow you to do some basic feature changes on your abbey. So there's a dormitory, which gives you an additional draw each turn. A guest room, which gives you an additional 2 trips to the Outlands each turn, which means you can bring back 2 cards from the Outlands during your purchase step. And then there's the gate, which allows you to banish a card at the start of your turn. So as we move along, especially if people start moving into the banish, including the scourge strategy, you'll see more of the gate getting picked up. I'm a little surprised nobody's been picking up the dormitory yet. It's really great for card draw.
Now, you shouldn't say that, because right now, like, there'd be no way that anyone could have 5. No one could buy it in this first 2 turns.
I could have bought it last turn, but
Well, actually,
I could
you
have
can
bought it
spend
this
5
turn.
because you get 2 coins. Remember, so
You're on your 3rd turn.
I could
So-
have bought it the previous turn.
on the first turn, you get 1 coin. You keep the coin and you buy something that costs 3. Second turn, you get a second coin. You're going to have 3 resources in your hand plus the 2 coins in play, which gives you 5. So on your second turn, you can buy it.
Okay.
so those 2 I've got 6 and 7 for Cabin Home.
Very nice. So yeah, that's an important point, is that the nice thing about gaining that coin token every turn is it gives you a lot of choices on your first couple turns. Even though you're getting the exact same cards, you can buy something that costs 3, something that costs 5, something that costs 4, something that costs 4, do things that cost 3, and the next turn get something that costs 6 or 7, so you can really play with how you...
But none of those choices include squirrels. Is that correct?
Yes, Jess has got squirrel.
Well, that's the thing. That's the only option.
Oh, the squirrels, yes.
Okay, speaking of squirrels, I got one, which draws me another card. Which draws me a squirrel, which draws me another card. Which draws me a squirrel, which draws me another card. Which draws me a squirrel, which draws me another card. So there you go. Okay. So that gives me now 3 rations, which I'm going to spend for 4. I'm going to get a surprise.
Surprise.
That's right.
It's the English version.
It's English.
Discard pile face up.
Okay, I'm gonna take a little piece of gold. They're not coins anymore, guys. They're gold.
They're gold nuggets.
And then I'm gonna get a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? This is a helmet.
It is.
I'm
Can't
gonna
eat
take
that.
another gold,
It's not
and
rations,
then
it's supplies.
I get 1, 2,
Stuff.
3 rations and Shadow, which gives me 2 more rations. So I now have 5, 6, 7, 8, which could be enough for Constance, but instead I'm going to spend 2 of my gold and all of my rations and get a cavern hole.
Oh, just 2 Martin's belts.
Yay!
And,
You're a trip taking fool.
and that is gonna be my turn.
So for the Cavern Hole, you can place a ration on there, and it says harvest, so that means it still counts for that turn too?
Correct. So we would put the ration on there at the start of your turn, and then when you get to harvest, that ration basically counts towards your total money on the board, and then it just stays there. So next turn it'll be there available for you as well. So
Yeah.
yes. So that first turn, when you put a ration at the start of your turn, when you get to harvest, you'll be able to use that as your first meal at the cavern hole, basically.
Now, if if I were to banish a card, I couldn't banish that card into the cavern hole, could I?
No,
The only way to add rations is one.
it's the one per turn. Yep.
Yeah.
So Josh, your turn. Where did you go?
Tyler's still
Oh,
going.
sorry.
It's on the other side of the board.
Oh, okay. You didn't put a ration into it?
I just got it last turn.
Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been started this turn yet.
Should have been.
Or wait,
You
I
just
just-
went. You just went. And it should have been his turn. That's what I was asking about the
Did I-
rations.
Did we start going in the opposite direction again?
Did I go after you?
You went correct, and then it should have been Josh's turn, and I don't know what happened over here.
What?
I think we started going
I
counterclockwise
got.
again.
I bought I bought a surprise after Chris.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
so then
you just
So then it would
It
be
is your
your
turn.
turn.
Oh, see, this is my
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Okay.
It would be your turn.
Okay. Then yes, I do want to put that there. I also got 2 belts, but I think I can make it work because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a gate.
I immediately regret my strategy.
Yeah, I noticed that now that Clooney's in play, everybody's a little bit more careful about. Oh, sorry, you know what? We modified Clooney too. Now that I should have told you that earlier. Because
Yeah.
last game, remember, everybody was kind of complaining about how strong Clooney was against some of the other cards.
I noticed
So
that.
yeah, so Clooney has a modification on him which allows you. You can either. So it used to be you had to discard your hand and draw a new card. It's a hand of 4 cards. Now it's you can either discard a beast or discard your hand and draw 4 new cards. So if you want to do drop them and draw 4 new, it still works great. But if you want to just discard a beast, you don't have to do anything else. So it makes Clooney a little bit safer for you guys,
If you're
especially
trying to
for
do a
you because you
card
got
draw,
Jess. You can
yeah.
discard a Jess, and you don't have to worry about losing your hands.
Right, dang.
So what's a beast? Any of the characters?
Yes, any card with a brown border is a beast, basically.
So I got all my hands are here. I'm just gonna get another surprise.
Yeah, same. So take one, give one. I'm trying to get a surprise.
Everybody's calling it surprise now.
Surprise!
All right.
So from
my
UHF.
turn. I'm gonna put 1 ration into the cavern hole, yep, no.
That's a good way to do it. Just keep it so you can see that one sticking out there somewhere.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a big stack, so I'm gonna want it. And
You're
I know
planning
it
ahead
is,
already.
So I mean, oh, and a gold. So I have 5 this turn. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I could get.
I like this like chunky cheese you found for this grab. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
You're like,
Might be a little. I think the coloration on it got a little green. The impressionist painting overlay filter on it moved to the green hue. Try to decide if we can do the same strategy as Josh or want something different.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna get.
Well, buying an extra card draw might not be bad too. If you grab the dormitory, unless you're planning on going for 2 cavern at some point. Dormitory gets you the 1 extra card draw.
Dormitory is an extra
Card draw.
card draw. Typically,
Bell Tower's also an cost 6 and it's an extra card draw. Plus, you get the ability to banish that card if you want to.
and I'm technically a turn behind Dirty right now, so going for the same one as him may not be the best choice. So, yeah, I'm gonna do adjust.
No power is like a fixture on your drive, but you use it.
So the bell tower is going to be a room, so it's going to get added to your, or a location. It's going to get added to your abbey.
So it applies
And then every
turn.
single turn, you
Okay.
get to scout your top card,
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
just
decide
gonna
if you
do
want to put it in your hand
for this
or
turn.
banish it.
Okay, just double checking.
Yep. So if you draw Clooney, you could banish him and have his whole banish effect, or if you draw a loot, you can put it in your hand and keep it.
Cool. So another one in there. Plus 3 more for 5.
Or 6 with a coin.
Yeah, or 6 with the coin.
So all these extra cards that you have so many choices.
they do. It's really cool. Okay, tell me again. What does Constance do? She's a monster.
Yeah, she's a little strange. So she lets you basically swap cards in your deck out for other cards that you might want. So she can pull things out of any room in your abbey or any place and put other things into it. In games like this, she's good because you can get rid of Clooney get Clooney's effect, get his points, and then gain something else and replacing him.
I see.
So you can or another Clooney or something else. So you can swap it around.
Take another shadow.
It is actually crazy thematically correct because Constance is the one that ends up attacking Clooney and then getting him to come back there and come afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting a notion here to re-explain just kind of what the relationship is here between Soma Games and the Warrior Reborn and this card game. Short answer is that our friend Charlie and his family has made this prototype of a card game. It's a deck building game. So this is not an official game. Right now it's for fun, and so you see a bunch of kind of placeholder art and stuff. So that's kind of important for anything going forward. We would love to produce this game, but right now we don't have that. So we're just playing it because it's fun. We are making a video game that's Redwall, which is part of why we're all talking Redwall stuff. And I think that answers the question. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for answering. Okay, I got my coin. Play a jest, get a thing, which gives me 2, 3, 4, 5, and I will take a dormitory.
Very well, sir.
Okay.
Take one, and then I got 6. I'm gonna get a bell tower.
From a strategic standpoint, that's just pick up a guess roll. You get those two extra trips every turn, which will get you starting on 5 and actually you can get there sooner rather than later.
Tyler, you just got on.
Yeah. I keep going off and on. My turn? Tyler? Yeah, sorry. Okay. Grab a
And
gold,
Rat says squeak.
and then put one ration from my hand
Appropriate.
into the cavern hole, and then I have Martin's belt and 2 shadows, which means I get 4 more rations this turn. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
Thank
you might need
you.
an extra cavern hole.
And I hadn't thought of an extra cavern hole as a useful thing, but it might actually be. Question about the guest room.
Mm-hmm.
It can go anywhere, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It probably is not wise to put it on top of one of your +2 card slots, but it could be very useful that you put it right on top of the +1 trip, basically doubles the number. Or if you want to give up the coin per turn, you can put it there and be extra purchases.
Okay, so I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am going to get. Yeah, you know what? I am. I'm gonna get another cavern hole.
When you put a card in a cavern hole, like where do you get it from?
Your hand. So from your hand, you put a ration into it at the beginning of your turn. So at the
Okay, so
start of
if
your
I
turn,
draw 4, I have in my hand.
Yep.
The first turn I have to take one from my hand in there.
Yep.
But I don't replace it. So now I've got
Correct.
3 cards in my hand.
correct.
Okay.
Yep. But that ration that you just put in the cavern hole will still be available. It's used
Yeah.
at the time of harvest, so
Yeah.
it's just an accumulation of rations.
Okay.
So yeah, so while you guys keep playing, we're going to talk a little bit about the way that costs work in this game. So as you see people playing out resources, your turn has 2 phases. One where you play a bunch of beasts, play all the various things that you want to play. You can lay resources out at that time. When you get done playing, you move to the part of your turn that's called what we call harvest. At that point, you stop playing. You say, okay, I'm done playing, and you don't have to say that out loud, but you lay your cards out generally and say, okay, here's how much money I've got, and you can count up the amount of resources that you have available. And so there's 2 things that come into the play when you're making the purchase choice. One is the amount of resources that you have in play. So these little gold cubes here can be turned in for a resource, as well as any cards that you lay out that have a resource symbol up in the top corner. So for here we have a little 3 that's in the upper corner. And those are all counted up to make the total amount of cost that or total amount of money basically that you have available for purchasing. But the other limiting factor is how many trips out to the Outlands you can do. And so typically you have a bunkhouse, you can only do 1 trip out to the Outlands, you only got 1 person going out per season to go out and bring something back, which means you get exactly 1 card. So even if you have a whole ton of money, you still only get to pick 1 card back out of them. So then there's a variety of cards in the game that give you additional trips. Jess the squirrel, for instance, makes trips out for you, so she'll add additional trips. So when you get to the harvest step, you can buy an extra card because of her. And that means you can take the money that you got, say you had 6 laid out, and you could split it into 2 and 4, 3 and 3, 1 and 5, whatever you wanted, and get 2 cards using 1 for her and 1 for the trip you already had that comes for free off of your bunkhouse. Now, there's a room that you can do, that you can add to your abbey. You can either replace the room that has a single trip to the Outlands and get the 2. This is the guest room. The guest room then gives you the ability to get 2 additional cards per turn, or if it replaces your existing one, you'd only get a net gain of 1. Yes?
Would you guys let me retcon something real quick? I placed my cavern hole in the courtyard. Would you let me retcon that into the apiary? Or should I keep it here?
I vote fine.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so Gavin made the choice when he put down his room. That's one of the things, when you settle a room, it kind of gets stuck where it's at, so you want to make sure you got it in the right spot. So he is replacing the positioning of his cavern hole over the top. So he's building a cavern hole on his abbey, the big room for eating and eating. And he chose to build it out over where the apiary is, which means he was no longer getting an additional coin per turn, but he has the ability, of course, to store more rations and have more meals going on.
Groovy. Who are we? Is it your turn?
Yeah, I've been waiting for him because
You can keep playing unless
I'm
you
banishing Shadow, so you all draw 2 rations.
No, you. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead. That's great.
Putting them on top of your deck.
So you
I
use
banish Shadow, so everybody else
I
puts
get these
2
rations?
rations on top of their deck.
So whenever Shadow gets banished, 2 rations go on top of everybody else's deck.
Okay.
So you got 1,
So
2.
for
So you can
everyone
drop them
else,
on your
just
draw deck. This is
blows.
your discard pile.
Yeah.
There.
1, 2, 3,
Thing, but for me,
Four.
it's perfect.
Okay, and so because Shadow is not a quest card, he doesn't stay in your abbey. Once he's banished, we're just going to put a little pile out there. Yep, there's the graveyard out in the middle. He just goes out there. And just turn him sideways or something so people can tell.
They're
Yeah.
more in the center-ish. I guess it's not the center.
So that pile is called Banishment. There's nothing in this game that will pull stuff back out of it, but there are cards in other sets that will definitely let you grab things back out of Banishment, and so on. Many of the protectors help bring cards back.
And so the point of what he did is it slows my deck down.
Partly that, and it also, he no longer needs it. He's got enough rations. He doesn't need so many shadows in his deck.
I see.
Yeah, how many
So
rations
he's
do you
really
have?
getting rid of him at this point. So a lot of the game ends up being this idea of starting with one strategy that gets you to a certain level, and then switching to a different strategy and kind of emptying your deck of the stuff that you didn't
I see.
need from the previous deck strategy. So he's gotten to the point where he's getting enough resources on a turn, there's no reason to keep playing shadows.
Okay. He's on a remote for you.
So he just pushed Shadow off the wall.
I'm thinking. I'm still thinking. About 4.
Well, he did. He kicked Shadow out the gate, see? Boom! Yep, there he went.
Boot to the face. This is Redwall!
I'm just gonna be like a resource buying machine here.
That's what I know. That's
Which is great.
exactly
It's
what
all
I'm
about the
waiting
money.
for, Yeah.
If you can build up the trips like you're doing, so you
4,
get enough of the Jesses, then you can just pick up
Guest room.
a tapestry or a Martin sword every turn. And Martin sword is worth 10
Right,
points.
what
You
was
don't
Martin
have to
sword?
ban it. It's
Forgot what
it's
that
10
did.
points. It's a resource. You don't have to banish or anything, so it's just worth a flat 10 points when you buy it. It costs a little bit more. It costs 9. And a trip out to the Outlands, of course, to go get it. But the really cool thing is, it is also a resource card, so it's like a souped-up loot. When you
Yeah,
play it,
I
you get
noticed
4
that.
from it, but you have to banish a card whenever you play it.
I see. Alright. How do you feel done?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can end your turn without playing everything in your hand.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you only banish a card if you play this. If you don't want to banish a card, you just don't play
Yep.
it.
It's still worth 10 points. It just doesn't get played that turn. But he's really great against something like Clooney, where you can banish Clooney, get your 4 points, and get the benefit of having banished Clooney. So he's sort of a win-win in that case.
5 rations, I'm gonna buy another dormitory.
Did you get your coin too?
I did, and this time I get to keep it.
I'll take one. I get a draw because of the bell tower. Keep it. And I'm debating whether I'm either going to buy a loot or a tapestry. Alright.
I think Loot's a good choice at this point.
Okay.
Build your deck up to the point where it's really strong.
Yeah. So it'll be 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12.
However,
Buzz.
I can put 2 rations.
Buzz. Sorry.
the apiary. It's the place where the beehives are. Word.
Okay.
Now it's just smashed bits of honey and wax.
Oh, it's a cavern hole right over the top of it. It's a cavern hole with a kind of odd smell to it.
2 cavern holes.
How's this place so sticky all the time?
So I have 4, 5, 6, 7. Could get another cavern hole.
Did you see Gavin actually did this? He actually did his evil hands. His evil money hands.
Might be good to start accumulating buys if you're going to go for tapestries or Martin's sword, I guess, at this point. How much are you getting in a turn right now?
Getting a minimum of 4.
Yep.
And so I'll be getting...
Next turn you'll be into the real money.
Mm-hmm. And I think what I want is...
So you guys keep playing, I'm going to start talking again.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we really tried to go for in this game, and I like about how it plays out, is that we try to think about each of the aspects of the mechanics themselves and how they relate to the story. So the idea being, you've got your Abbey going here, and card draw represents, so your draw deck represents all the opportunities of people that are around you that might come by and visit. And so it's not that there's 4 copies of Jess, the squirrel, it's that Jess comes by to do something 4 times. If your deck is running really well, she's interested in stopping by the Abbey a lot, or she's working a lot at the Abbey, and she does a lot of stuff. Likewise, if your deck doesn't have very much in it, as you start the game, there's not a lot happening, and so you really see the Abbey kind of grow. So things like card draw represent more people being interested in coming to visit your Abbey. So something like, you don't have the card out, but Ambrose Spike, he builds he's got the brewery down there, and lots of people want to come by to visit. So when you play him, you get to draw 2 cards. So it represents sort of attracting people to come through the Abbey. Whereas other cards like the Trips generally represent the idea that the Abbey is actively interacting with the world outside of it. So it's characters or items that would cause people to go out and do things outside. And then likewise, you have the resources that are coming in represent how well your Abbey is operating in terms of its own production line. So some things here. So each of the aspects to the game really have a real world, in a way, a story world aspect to how it would be, how Redwall Abbey would be operating.
I love the idea that this kind of generates stories. I think that's one of my favorite bits to it.
Yep. That's my turn. I bought a guest room. So now I take this card.
Remind me what the guest room is. Oh, more trips.
Yeah, more trips. So now I have 3 trips each turn. Should I choose to use them?
1, 4. I'm going to banish the other shadow.
Okay, everybody gains 2 rations, putting them on top of their deck. And this,
and I haven't drawn my hand yet.
So draw your hand first, yeah, and then do this.
Okay, so I'm just going to put them into the discard pile.
That's what I have 6 plus gold.
The rations are about to end.
Is that changing anything?
It doesn't change anything. It does count as one of the stacks that would end the game if 4 stacks were empty.
Okay.
However, it's unlikely. None of the other stacks are moving towards being empty right now, so more likely. In fact, you guys are having so much fun playing with the beast, and nobody's really gone for the quest cards yet. I'm sure that'll happen all of a sudden once Gavin.
Everyone's sandbagging is what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, Gavin's gonna be getting like 45 coin per turn here all of a sudden, and then everything's gonna change.
I like your name, Mauk. It's Charlie Mauk.
Mm-hmm. It's close enough.
Are we waiting for Gavin? Am I waiting for Dirk?
No, it's
Josh,
me.
Josh is thinking about what he's doing here. So now you would put those 2 rations on top of your deck there, Gavin.
I put them on top of my deck.
Yeah. Okay. So the Vanishing of Shadow puts 2 rations on top of everybody's deck, which for you is wonderful because that's guaranteed 2 rations into your.
I'm gonna get another
camera rolls.
chest room. I'm actually gonna put it on the apiary.
So, okay, interesting. So if I don't have any rations at the start of my turn before I play them down, I can't put them into.
You can't put them in later, right? So they have to be available in your hand. This turn you won't be adding anything to them. So good, 2 Chris.
My turn. Okay. I've got this. I've got 5. I'm getting a Methuselah.
Nice Methuselah. Got enough justice to make that work. So scout for the top cards.
Draw, I got a ration.
So you might want to choose to actually get rid of that if you feel like you've got enough other good cards in your deck.
Yeah,
That's
right.
at the low end.
But then what do I buy?
So you just-
I was thinking about buying a
Oh.
gate, so I have at least, so I can start discarding crappy cards every turn,
Mhm.
instead of having to draw a crappy card and discard it. So I'm gonna have it, then I have still an extra draw. Which 2, 3, 4, and I can use 1
You've got these guys still there too, so
gold, so I could banish this guy and use 1 of my gold and get a gate. That's what I'm gonna do that.
so the banish card just goes actually right there in the middle banish pile.
Oh, okay.
It's just gone. You don't have to worry about it.
That's banished cheese.
And then I'm getting
Yep.
Bad cheese. Bad cheese.
gate. 20.
Is that you done? He's done.
Okay, it's my turn. Still aviary console. Get it?
Buzz
And
buttons.
this turn, I do not have any rations to put in there, but I do have supplies. Martin's belt, 2 shadows, which gives me 4 more rations, but I only get 2.
Suck it!
So you get 1 supplies.
Do I? So what happened because I only got 2? Like I just too bad.
Yep, just too bad.
Too bad, so sad.
So typically in a game, if you're told to do something and you can't do it, you just move on. Unless the
Move
game
on
tells
with your
you,
shattered life.
Yeah, tells you to do something otherwise. In most cases, the general rule is you try to do it. If you can't, and you go on. So if the card says, if it says draw 2 cards and there's only 1 more card in your deck, you draw the 1 and you're done. You don't do
Shadow's
anything else.
almost a dead card at this point.
Yes.
He can satisfy Clooney.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
That's it.
Yep.
What do you mean satisfy Clooney? What does that mean?
His discard a beast or discard your hand, he counts as a beast, so you can
Oh, I see.
punt on that.
Okay.
So can I draw
Okay.
before I banish here? Because they're both at the start of the
Yes.
turn.
Okay. So that's another great question. So with this game, if there are more than 1 things that can happen at the same time, so multiple people have things that can happen. You have choices. It says at the start of your turn, do blah, and you can go, well, do I put something in here or draw a card first or whatever? You get to choose the order. So choose the order that best suits you. So in most cases, it would be better to draw first, then choose to banish. There might be cases though where you might say, you know what, I've got a clue in my hand. I want to banish him first, discard my card hand, draw 4 new cards, then get to draw the extra 1.
Gotcha.
So with this setup, there are cases where you may want to do either one first, and you get to make the decision at the start of your turn. This is the order I'm going to do it in.
Right,
Same
okay.
thing might be true for somebody like Gavin or Josh if they were doing. If they had card draw and rations, they would want to draw the card first, then put the rations in.
Got you.
Sorry.
No tapping.
Dirty, no tapping.
So some people asked
Frag
about
is excited.
whether you can do 1 player versus 1 player. Absolutely. So it works as a 2-player game. So you can scale it down. So a few things change when you're doing a 2-player game. The most notable is just that it only takes 2 of the outland stacks to empty to end the game. You can play with less cards in play, but we've actually found that it's best to play with about this many because it gives you a lot of really interesting options. So we've played 2-player games on a board like this, and it was actually a lot of fun. It still worked great.
Groovy.
Alright. And then I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to use that for a gate move. So, boop, and give me a gate. Here we go. Now I can banish a card. And again, at the beginning of my turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For beans.
Nicely played, Gavin. Nicely played.
Okay. I'm gonna banish Martin's belt
Just
to
as
the
effect.
archive. And then I've got 3 plus
Just as
4
effect.
plus 4. I'm gonna tapestry.
Her +1 artifact happens to play her +1 trip is available at the time of harvest. So for some reason she got removed from play before you got harvest. She wouldn't have that available.
Jess gets me Jess. Which gets me food. Where's Jess? Which gets me thing. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got Jess's coming out my nose. And I will take a tapestry also. Wait. And to get victory points for the stage, you have to be in my hand, right?
Nope. Oh, sorry. What was that?
Yeah. To get victory points for the tapestry, they just need to be.
They need to be. You need to own them. Yep. They can be in your deck. They can be in your abbey. They can be in your hand. Anywhere.
I'm gonna get me a gate here, which means I need to play 5. So we'll call that 2, 3, 4, 5, which gives me up to 5 more. I can do. What do I want to do with that? I could get a surprise.
You get 2 more jesses. Keep it going. You just get 2 more jesses without spending any point. Or 1 more jess without spending any point, right?
Yeah, but I'm gonna get a surprise.
Okay, I want to know.
Is it
draw?
possible to replace both of your settlers and not be able to draw him?
Yes. Yep. If you wanted to. I think that would be a poor choice.
You might want to reconsider that idea.
But that could certainly be a case where if you thought the game was about to end, or if buying, say, the last room ended the game, you could certainly go, hey, this room is worth. Remember, we had a moment ago we had a room out there at the courtyard that was worth victory points. So you could go, hey, I'm going to buy a courtyard, put it over my cellars, and the game ends, and I got 10 extra points. So there could be a few rare cases where you do that. Typically, you wouldn't. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Keep the coin.
I think that's.
Did you answer the 1v1 question?
Yes, so you can do 2-player game with this, definitely.
And it is 4 the maximum?
We have not. Have we tried more than 4? I mean, theoretically, there's nothing that would break in the game that wouldn't. If you went more than that, it just seems like if you get 5 or 6, unless people are really snappy on their turns, you could end up really bogging down. Yeah.
Okay.
Get 8 players and have 2 opposite people going each time or something. No, it seemed like it'd get a little
There
crazy.
you go.
Camera's
And if someone
pointing-
catches up to you, are we losing? What's your
camera's pointing towards us a little bit, soft center.
Whoa!
You're making it worse.
I think it needs to be like tilted this way.
Better? That's better.
There we go. Okay, so on my turn, I'm gonna put the 2 rations in my hand.
Make everybody sick.
Into here, and then play Jess, which draws me 2 more cards, and one of them is a ration, one of them is the other one's a belt. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trips, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units for a ration. So I can either get a tapestry, I can get a whole bunch of jesses, or I could get.
I feel like it's been a game of chicken where nobody's ready to launch into buying.
It is a little bit of that.
buying quest yet until they're like,
I bought
well,
a tapestry
I
already.
can buy
I bought a tapestry.
You did, good
so-
job. All right, so we got the game.
The game has begun.
The end game has begun.
If I banish a tapestry, that goes into my arc.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Likewise with the Martin's Belt. So Martin's Belt is a great target for that because that's 4 points that it's not in your deck, but it still counts towards your total.
Yes. Yes, it does. Okay. I'm gonna go with. Do I start Clooney, or do I start the? You know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, let's get a tapestry. Let's do it. And that ends my turn. 'Cause that was all of my
God, it
rations.
makes a commitment.
So there are a total of, I think, 12 tapestry cards. So we've had 2 of them purchased. Once that stack gets empty, the game will end. Was it 8? Well, we'll do a quick count on there. I think we may have put too many on the stack, right? It's supposed to be 8, yeah. But this may be for the printing because if you just put the total count printing on.
Banishing another shadow, but there's nothing to do with that. And putting another one on here.
So there's 6
So,
more purchases of the
got-
tapestry.
6 on here?
We should double check that number.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus this, 7, 4 trips, another tapestry.
Nice.
Is that it for turkey?
Yep.
Okay. Now I can. And I banished this card to work. Oh, is that right?
So it's best.
Yeah, it's all start of turn stuff.
I think in this case I'm willing to fudge the rules because it would have been the same.
Yep. Very good.
And I don't put it there, I put it here. Correct? So, 2, 3, 4. 2, 4, 5, 6. And I will also buy a tapestry.
And Turpistors.
Draw. We got ration. I'm going to banish the ration. Yeah, banish the ration. I got 5, 6, and I'll buy a splurge.
Clooney to scourge!
Discard.
Alright, my turn. 2 more rations in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Guaranteed every turn. Minimum. What is constant special? That's interesting for including the Scourge strategy. Oh, and I have 2 more rations, so I have 10. So I could get literally anything.
Except you only have 2 trips, right?
I only have 2 trips. So, well, okay, so I couldn't get Tapestry.
Well, I keep giving the face.
Sword of
You
Martin
already
Warrior,
got 1 tapestry.
Sword
Like,
of Martin
you
Warrior
can't
is
go
worth 10
near.
points.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to get. I'm gonna get Constance and Jess.
Is just for Constance, like for supper? Maybe you have. What if you had to feed Constance to make her do her work?
That would
You
be more
have
of a
a
scoundrel.
Constance would
Constance-
well,
This is
you have to
like-
consume another beast, but you can consume a loot or something. You have to feed the badger for her to break down the wall.
You just made this really
Very
like,
different.
just changed the notion of what Redwall
My
is.
childhood.
Okay, banish tapestry. Place another ration, so 7, 8, and I guess I don't know if that does anything.
It waves in the wind, which is kind of
Get
cool.
another tapestry.
It does nothing. Looks nice in your archives.
It's blue. 22.
I've got a Jess. I've got a Fusela. Which gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay. If we're gonna do this thing, we're done. 4, 5 again. I'm gonna spend this to get a Groot. Baby Groot?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Supplies, fuel, vanish, belt.
Goes to your archives for
Okay.
4 points. Yep. Just right here with your archives. That's fine.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
cool. And then I have 6, 2, 4. Okay, so I will do stuff. I'm gonna buy another Scourge. Those guys. This.
You don't have an extra trip to the Outlands. That was the unfortunate.
Uh,
so you could just do one.
Yeah, you're right. Alright.
So you might consider buying the Sword of Martin the Warrior though, because if you have, I think you have enough of that.
Well,
6,
oh,
7,
right.
8, 9. So for one of those, rather than buying Clooney, you could buy the Sword of Martin the Warrior, which would help you get through your Clooney's faster.
Or you can just
Okay.
give up now.
No, that's cool.
Use your joystick.
I'll do trips.
My turn.
I can buy
The
one.
one helps now. Yeah, he would say there's a room that gives you +2 trips, so you could do that instead. So if you're getting the Sword of Martin, then you need to not get that guy.
Oh, not get this guy? Oh,
Well, you
gotcha.
paid 6 for this guy, so if you're gonna pay 9 for him, you'd have to return.
Right.
Clooney.
Banish card banish the archive.
Oh, okay. So Jedediah's right. So here, go ahead and put that one back and let's talk
Yeah,
about
I was
this.
gonna
So,
say, how's
so
that?
yeah, so there's a card here called Guest Room that gives you +2 trips,
Okay.
and that's fun to have for future turns. But the great thing about it is the actual cost of it is only 4 resources. So you can build a guest house without going out to the Outlands at all. You just pay 4, and then it comes into your abbey. So you could add it to any room. You can put it over the top of your existing bunkhouse, whatever. You're not going to get that extra trip this turn, but it turns out you can buy something else because you can do that without taking a trip to the Outlands. So if you want to pay 4 to get that extra one, you'd end up spending 4 of these guys, and you'd still have enough for Clooney the Scourge.
Okay, yeah.
So you could buy that for a future turn.
Sounds good. So, but either way to draw to play it.
You just go ahead and put it in your building somewhere. So
Okay.
if you put it here, this will give you, it's replacing your existing 1 trip, so now you'll have 2 trips to the Outlands every turn.
Okay.
Or you could replace your coin and have 3 trips to the Outlands every turn. This is probably the better choice because the coin is really handy.
Right, gotcha.
Yep. And those guys all on there. Discard and full.
My turn now?
Yep.
Do I get to do my amazing turn now?
Yes.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
see what
Here
it
it
does.
So I have 2 rations, which go in here.
This
So
is
now
just
I
getting
have
irrational.
guaranteed 10 every turn, plus 2 more rations, which is 12. I only have 2 trips, so I can't get a tapestry, but I can
Get 2
get
swords and more.
2 Cloonies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, get out of here.
2 cloisters.
I know what I'm doing.
That was
I
your
promise.
amazing turn.
That was my amazing turn.
Turkey's like, I still got him. I got your clue right here.
Put that, banish that. With these 2, that means 7, 8.
How many are in
1,
there?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus so 9, and a
Sword.
trip.
Sword or a Clooney?
I will say, just based on this game, the Cavern Hole feels kind of OP.
Do you have
2 and a trip.
Wait, but you have.
I have 2 guest rooms.
Okay, nice. Yep. So that's.
So I have 2 rations plus my 2 gold and 1 trip left.
Like 2 of my rooms are Cavern Hole.
Yeah, but way overdone. I mean, in other words, well worth it. Like those become OP really, really fast.
But I also had to really bloat my deck with rations in order to do this.
And how difficult?
And I
is that?
helped.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like,
I realized once you placed the second thing out, that kind of counters what my strategy was to bloat everybody's deck with rations.
Right.
And I was like, but he can get rid of them as fast as I can get them in his deck now.
Yeah.
So the trick with Jess is to clear out a bunch of your deck. So Jess is really powerful if you keep your deck lean and mean and just run her up. We've seen games where the tapestry just got it bought out quick because all you need to do is get 7 coins somewhere in your 7 resources somewhere in your deck, buy a tapestry every turn, and it can move pretty fast if you can draw through her. And so the trick is to have a few enough of her. Enough Methuselah, so that you play 3 of her, you play Methuselah, you draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
You play a couple more of her, you play another Methuselah, you draw 6 cards, and you just now my whole deck is done.
I can see how that works really well, but I'm looking at the amount of effort goes into building what Gavin built. That's way easier. No, I don't just mean that's easier by a long shot to build what Gavin built.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
I see my name showing up on the feed over there.
So banish him. Give a thing.
Boots for the win.
Yeah.
Free.
Oh, I need to draw
He's always on. I don't know if they actually know.
6, 7.
Next turn, man.
In this case, I
Same
can't
4
do it.
cards every turn.
your deck's done just 4
I
cards.
have 1 card in my draw pile.
Oh, yeah, my draw pile is
Deck is lean and mean.
Okay, your turn.
Brandon.
Okay, sorry. You might want to draw first. Oh, I see. This is a good spot for that.
Yeah. Banish
So
Clooney.
Clooney just got banished. So everybody either needs to discard a beast or discard their hand and draw 4 new cards.
Sure.
Alright, so you get to discard your hand, draw 4 new cards. Yep. And now you get your bell tower back.
Oh, I
So
have
you
2
can-
rations, so it doesn't
Well,
matter.
bell tower happens first. So you can't you're not restarting your turn, so you've already used the first banish card.
Oh,
so now
gotcha.
you're at bell tower. So you
Okay.
can reveal the top card and see what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Ration, which I will.
Yeah.
4.
We found that out last game.
Put this in the ration of the bell tower, and I can still buy a.
Yep. So you could go ahead and banish it if you wanted to. Just banished out to that.
And then buy like a surprise. I don't have that much though. 3, 4, 5,
6. Yeah.
I could buy clean. Then I still have a bloated deck. I will buy. My turn.
Yeah. And Clooney is actually a decent card to play, just as a regular playing card, if you have enough beasts to sort of feed Clooney.
Right.
Because you can still play him as a decent card draw engine. You just have to
Yes.
have a beast in your hand to discard,
Okay,
draw 3 new
I'm going
cards,
to
play
banish
play all those cards out, discard a beast,
my
draw 3 new cards.
tapestry.
Just as a regular
Archive
player,
my
though.
ration here, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 each turn. And I just switch.
Okay,
draws me
maybe I
another
misunderstood
card.
what happened. So when he played Clooney, I discarded
I
that.
have
Do I
Martin's
also draw 3
belt.
cards?
No, that's just for him if he wants to play.
enough.
So
He doesn't have
Yeah,
that.
so Clooney has 2 things that happen. One thing that happens when you play him, and one thing that happens when you banish him. He used just the banish effect. But Clooney also is a playable card, so if he has a Clooney in his hand, rather than banishing it, he can just play it like a regular beast, do its regular thing,
I see.
and then he has a special side effect that happens when you banish him.
Okay.
It's just that in this game, because he's points,
Discard.
everybody's so actively usually going about banishing him,
10
they don't just use him
and
for
a
his
belt.
regular ability.
Okay.
3 and a belt.
Wait, Shadow's worth a trip.
And
Which
that-
ends the game.
Which triggers the end of the game. So now, when the game ends, you get to finish your turn still. So you could, if you had an extra buys or had something else you want to do in there, you could do a little bit more. Yeah, grab a Martin's belt if you have enough extra money to pick up one more.
5 and I have 3 and a trip, so I can buy another belt.
There you go. So just grab a few extra points,
And I still have 2 gold. Rude.
so now as you guys are looking through, you can look through anything that's in your deck, anything that's in your archives, and you're looking for anything that has that purple banner up in the upper right-hand corner, and that's going to be your total points. So just sort through your deck looking for
I
anything
did
that's got
not do
counts
as
on
well
it.
this time.
Those will go to
I
you.
had another long-term
60.
strategy. It was about to kick in.
75.
I've heard that.
This far.
75.
Okay,
my-
87.
So just the next turn, I would have put 2 more rations in here. I would have banished Clooney the Scourge.
This is what I'm hearing.
We were like, this
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
every time.
Coulda, shoulda,
A
woulda.
little.
So
You were like
these
1
guys
turn too
don't-
slow.
Yeah, don't count because they
Right,
weren't in
that's one
management.
turn
So
too
you could put those back off to the side here. So then you're.
But you were trying to speed up with the 2
So you
cavern
get
holes.
20, 28. Yep.
Yeah, like with the 2 cavern holes, I was trying to speed up.
Your
getting
food was
my-
building up
So
really
close.
fast.
Why did you end the game, Dirty?
Yeah, like
Yeah, so
Like my-
and this is one other fascinating thing where Constance does come in a little bit at the end of the game. So if you can play Constance, you can knock these guys back out, remove the rooms because she lets you redesign your abbey. So
you
you
still
can,
have those
and then you would get
points.
your 10 points back for the basic rooms that were underneath. So Constance again is kind of a late game card where you know the game's coming to an end. You can pull her out for that couple extra points to pick up here and there. Because she could knock a
Yeah, I
room
didn't-
out, and then you would get points. So you take a room like the bell tower that costs 6. You get rid of it. You get the 10 points from that. You pick up a copy of Martin's belt, so you gain 14 points off of a single play of Constance.
Sure.
Something like that gives you some interesting tricks that you can do. Okay, so here we've got a total of 1 loot.
You did
the
even worse
Scourge,
than I
this
did.
is 20.
Yeah.
So we have 28 points total here. You've got 2 loot. 2 of Martin's belt and recover the tapestry, so that's 25 plus 8 more, so 33. And then you get your total there. So you got
38.
38 points total. All right, you got no loot at all. Oh, you didn't need loot because you had cavern hole. Yeah.
I had a massive
so while he got a lot of resources, and Chris was
87.
talking about 87 points. Wow.
And I messed up. I should have banished the gate for another 10.
Well, you
Yeah.
you
I
can't
lost.
banish a
lost
room
it
unless
by
you have something that specifically allows you to banish.
Oh,
it. But
last time we played, I asked you and you said banish gate. The gate could banish itself.
sorry, I think only if gate can get something in your hand, but yeah, I can't.
Oh, okay.
banish-
Then never
No.
mind.
Yeah, sorry, you can't banish itself. That would be kind of interesting. So sorry, gate can banish anything that's in play. So maybe I misunderstood what we were talking about. Anything that's in play in front of you, and anything that's in your hand. It takes a special card like Constance to reach into the abbey and banish stuff out of the abbey.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically, as
We all
I
get
was
trophies,
switching
guys.
to
Showing up.
basically, had
Participation
you not
awards.
ended the game, I would have started getting more Jesses and Clooney's and just churning through my deck.
Well, and it would be really interesting to figure out. I mean, certainly we've designed the game around a length of time that we think is fun for a certain age category, and we don't want to put it. So my 7-year-old boy plays this game, loves it, and it's okay for him. Whereas if you get as you get towards adults, things like what Gavin's doing, you want these deeper strategies. It would be really nice for us. We're still thinking about it. Like, how do we tune the game so that people can say, hey, we want to play a longer game. We're going to say, there's extra cards in this stack, or the game runs longer because of this, or maybe you have to get rid of 2 piles. You have to trigger 2 game end things to end the game. Actually, one end game trigger isn't enough.
Right.
And so there's certainly options to do that. I mean, that's we're still looking at that, and it would be nice to have a game that has that kind of depth to it.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that you took some of the recover the temperature cards out because extra got printed in. You could just be like, well, longer game. Congratulations, double the size of the recover the tapestry pile. Like, whatever. So. Man, my mercantile engine was good.
It was good. But the downside,
a lot of good it did you.
So you were talking about you're talking about how much money it made, but if you build towards loot's worth 5 points for every one of them you buy. So it seems like in some ways it's moving a little bit slower to get all the money compared to what Gavin did. It counts for a lot more points in the end. He had no points off of loot at the end. So
yeah,
it was
none of my
but that's
resources
not the
gave
point.
me points.
Because what I'm saying is, like, for the amount of effort that went into having basically 10 gimme coins every turn, that's a lot of gimmies.
Yeah, that did absolutely nothing
That's
for me.
your fault.
Yeah.
He needed to build up trips to cash in on all that money. Otherwise, he can.
Like, it was
You only did one trip. You could have got loot that whole time.
Yeah.
It was easy effort, but it didn't translate into any winnable strategy, and it took a long time to build that up too.
That's the thing.
I still think
think about
next
is,
time we play,
I still
you'll
think
do
it's
that
harder.
one. You try that one.
10 minutes
Okay, so
out.
it just as a wrap up on that too. So I mean, we were playing right here with 3 quests being shown, 3 rooms being shown, 5 beasts, and then 1 starter card. And then in the what we expect to be the initial set for this one, we have a total of there's 12 beasts. So you'd be able to randomize these, mix them in every time you played. You would pick 5 beasts at random. There's 6 total rooms, so you'd pick 3 rooms at random. 3 rooms at random. So the rooms there would get shuffled with these guys, and you would end up with different rooms each time. Same thing with the quests. There's 3 quests out. There's 3 more quests here. Those get randomized and shuffled in. And so every time you play, even though you will see some cards show back up, obviously over games, the combination of how the cards interact, there's a lot of really interesting things that happen as you play through. So we like the fact that it has that adventure aspect where every time you lay it out, you kind of go, whoa, what is this? Oh, can you do that with that? I think you can. And it becomes a little bit of a partly a story and partly just sort of try and understand how do we succeed with these things out in our outland. So we like that aspect that it's randomized every time.
I think you're selling your game.
I am.
Just to go over it real quickly again. Chris, what was your score?
6. I don't remember. It was like 32.
No,
or something.
it was 33. Yeah, 33.
You had 33,
28.
28, 38, 87.
87.
So there was one strategy that worked really well there. That was getting those tapestries every turn. So that is it's an aspect to the game. Is like we talked about that kind of game of chicken of like how long you spend building your engine versus how long before you just start getting quest cards. And there was opportunities really early on. I mean, Clooney only cost 6. People could have bought him on literally the 3rd turn. Right. So you can move that strategy faster, or you can kind of wait it out.
Right.
But I do like the fact that everybody has fun building the engines. So that's certainly something we're looking for as we're trying to balance the game.
Yeah,
more.
it's
How do
cool.
you get those engines going and have more fun with that?
We're past time, so I want to
Yep.
make sure we can do a little sign off. So again, for anyone who's coming in later, this is I don't even think it has a name yet. So
Abbey Builder is all we're just calling it.
Abbey Builder, for lack of a better name, and maybe that's the final name. But this is our friend Charlie, and him and his family built this thing. It's a prototype game that we have a lot of fun with, and so we wanted to kind of give him some airtime as well as some feedback. And so there's a question here that says whether or not we will ready to sell it. Right now it's not ready, but in truth, also we don't have a license to sell it. But we would love to see this thing go to production, and who knows, maybe we'll see what we can talk to to the publisher about. But it's fun, and we wanted to share it with you. So if you have any, if you're like super analytical and you're watching this, and you have any feedback, please share it through email or Facebook or whatever, and maybe we'll play it again. So thank you everyone for coming, and I reckon we will see you next time. Solid Red Fox is in France.
Yeah,
or just France as a noun.
We got a French version.